here at Jackson State University. Georgia.
Hi, Georgia.
Hi, thank you, Senator Warren, for taking my question. Thank you so much for taking my question. I am an African-American female with 5 beautiful adult children and 10 grandchildren.
Oh, Georgia, count your blessings every day.
Please describe to me what a public apology for 400 years of free labor in the South, especially Mississippi, will look like in the African American community in the new election.
All right. Thank you, Georgia.
In the new administration.
Thank you. So,
a University of Southern California student is speaking out about the recruiting tactics of the alleged mastermind behind the college admission scandal. Rick Singer is his name. He pleaded guilty and led prosecutors to more than 30 parents. Those indicted include actresses Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin. The student we spoke with is asked to remain anonymous. She says that Rick Singer approached her mother with an offer that seemed too good to be true. And we know how this ends. It was. Carter Evans is at USC with more on the story. Carter, good morning.
Good morning. The USC student basically says that Singer solicited her mother as a client after a referral from a friend. Now, she thought his services were totally legitimate at the time until he resurfaced as the face of this multi-million-dollar scandal.
Newly installed publisher and editor of an Alabama weekly newspaper, the Democrat Reporter, stepping down. Alicia Dexter was promoted to the position last month after the paper's owner, Goodloe Sutton, penned an editorial with the headline, "The Klan needs to ride again." Now, CNN did attempt to get a statement from Sutton and the Democrat Reporter. We have not heard back from them. Alicia Dexter, though, joins us now. It's good to have you with us. You weren't there very long. I know you had very high hopes. You had very high hopes for what you could do in that position. Why did you decide to resign?
8 years old, Tani Adewumi is well on his way toward mastering the extremely difficult game of chess, and that alone is an impressive feat. But it's even more remarkable when you hear Tani's story. He's a chess champion capturing hearts. Tani Adewumi beat out 73 other children to win the New York State Championship for kindergarten through 3rd grade. Not only did he win, he went undefeated. An unlikely outcome since he learned the game just a year ago, but getting here wasn't easy. The 3rd grader, his older brother, and parents have been living in a New York City homeless shelter since fleeing Nigeria 2 years ago, fearing attacks by the terror group Boko Haram. The family says they are seeking religious asylum. Tani enrolled in the local elementary school where chess coaches Russell Makovsky and Sean Martinez taught him how to play. The young refugee's incredible story has gone viral. Makovsky set up a GoFundMe page for the family. Within 3 days, thousands of strangers had donated over $100,000. They head into an apartment today.
I'm so proud of him.
The family overwhelmed, thankful, and now ready for their next move.
Next guest is an Oscar-winning actress who starred in the record-breaking blockbuster Black Panther, and now she's scaring audiences in the new horror film Us, which already has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yes, please welcome LUPITA Nyong'o.
Let's take you now to Dallas, where former President George W. Bush is speaking at a naturalization ceremony.
And it's going to be a privilege for me just in a few minutes to call you a fellow American. By custom, most Americans don't realize this, but citizens-to-be are known as candidates. Although for this kind of candidate, there are no debates, fundraisers, recounts, or opponents. Just a room full of friends to say, congratulations. We are glad you're here.
HICKENLOOPER for a CNN Democratic presidential town hall. We have one more audience question, but before we get to that, we've been looking at your memoir, and you have a lot of interesting stories in that book. One of them is about the time you went to see an X-rated movie with your mother. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you so much for that question.
Anytime.
We want to get right to that breaking news, an anti-Muslim terror attack in New Zealand. The Prime Minister there is calling it one of the nation's darkest days. A gunman attacked 2 mosques while hundreds of Muslims were praying.
The man who is claiming responsibility and charged with murder is an extreme right-wing white supremacist who live-streamed the attack, saying it was aimed at immigrants. Security stepping up here in the U.S. That's a live look at the Islamic Cultural Center right here in New York City.
So here's what we know right now. At least 49 people were killed, 48 more wounded, multiple IEDs discovered attached to vehicles, and 3 people are now in custody. Our senior foreign correspondent Ian Pannell starts us off with the very latest. So those 2 mosques that were attacked is behind me. Crime scene investigators are still here looking for more evidence, piecing together what happened. This as there are many memorials popping up all across this nation. There are more tears here than bloodshed. We're also learning more about the suspect.
An alleged killer in court, charged with murder in the deadliest mass shooting in New Zealand history. The main suspect blurred here under New Zealand law, but identified by U.S. and Australian sources as 28-year-old Brenton Tarrant, appearing defiant, making a hand signal associated with white nationalism.
Welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Hello and welcome to Black Minds News. I'm your host, Mr. Blows Your Mind. And this channel is to report, articulate, transmit, communicate, relay, unveil, decode, spread the news, whether it's by news, video, websites, or quotes from publications. As I articulate these information, I ask that the creator of the universe be here, heart, soul, mind, and spirit. Because why? The truth don't need no partner. As a descendant of the greatest people who created the so-called greatest country in the planet Earth, we give honor to our ancestors. And you know what my motto is? I'm never going to tell you what I heard. I'm only going to tell you what I know. That's right, y'all. Another show. I'm back on again to try to give you the same old soup, just not reheated. So what's good, everybody? First and foremost, I want to say what's good to the subscribers. Fam in the house. Those who are the supporters of the Black Minds News, trying to get this channel out of the dead zone. I want to thank each and every one of you personally. For new subscribers, welcome, right? And it is you that allow me to keep doing what I do, seeing that the fact that I do have somebody who's also willing to be a participant, avid watcher of the show. I thank you first and foremost. Passerbyers. You know, it's always a grand opening here on Black Minds News. You know, like a grand opening, you go down the aisles, which is my library, see something you might like, hit that like button. If you should happen to hit the dislike button, on what I shall do, I shall bring my manager or my supervisor out to you. Maybe we can have a conversation about a few things. Maybe we can get you to return again, give you an IOU or a discount for the next time. And maybe the next time you come back, you might hit that like button, which is saying that you agree. And maybe we even might become a subscriber to the show. So we welcome you as well. Agents. Nothing to talk about. Anyway, we're gonna move on. So, you know it is, y'all. I'm doing a lot of unforeseen things behind the scenes, right? Trying to give you the most, best show that I can produce. And I come across some good things that is just, there's times, especially once I get back into this live again, for those who may not know, they had me on the 90 days suspension due to something that should have been part of a not copyright infringement, should have been part of fair use. But again, it's the most hated show in the black corner of the internet, and also being a black man and being part of the ADOS and BADOS, you know, they got to always try to, you know, pull you over and give you a ticket when they can. And so I'm just going to try to, you know, stick it out, let it do what it do until, you know, until the time prevails. And then once we get back to the live, I have some new things. You'll probably start seeing a lot of it as the shows, you know, continue to go on. Again, I'm trying to get back to that regular schedule of every day. Again, some things I have stumbled over that make my job a little bit easier for me to get stuff out. And so I hope you all appreciate what I do. And again, for those who are sending me content, I shall, believe what I tell you this, I shall incorporate your stuff. Don't think that I don't say that I don't mean that with sincerity, because I do. Let me make sure I don't do the wrong thing here. Make sure that's right here. Okay, so, you know, again, it's the political season, right? And there's a lot going on. And so, you know, everybody's out here putting their bid in, trying to make this shit. You know, I'm the one. We the one. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's incumbent on you to, you know, as people who are looking, especially as being ADOS, BADOS or DOS, depending on how you want to classify and, you know, name yourself. We're looking for candidates that have the interests of black people at heart, right? Especially those, again, ADOS, BADOS, and DOS of the land, because, again, we have many generations, right? And so it is only incumbent that we should finally get some fruits of the labor, whether we now who are here or those who are prosperity shall come, shall eventually reap some of the benefits of what ancestral have set forth and laid down. You know, maybe it was to see what the future was going to hold, so we got some on credit. You know what I'm saying? We should be able to go in this store with a black card. You understand what I'm saying? So anyway, so, you know, again, this is political season. You know, everybody trying to come out, let you know, trying to tell you, you know, the PR side of them, right? They're going to give you the PR to make you, entice you to believe that they are the candidate of the choice that you should choose. And so I seen two people, right? Seen two people. So I'm going to give you back to back of these two. And, you know, can some things in this first, let's put it this way. I'm gonna do. Oh, should I do him first? Yeah, I think I'm gonna split them up. I'm not gonna do. Hold on. Yeah, let me not do that. Let me do this. Hold on. Instead of me doing it the way I was about to do it, I'm gonna do it this way, because this way. Oh! I was on the wrong thing anyway. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Hold up here. Hold up. Hey, what was you about to do, huh? You was on something, huh? Okay, we was on something right there. All right, so it looks like I think I got it right. Let's see. What's this about? See, that's the thing here. You know what I'm saying? When I try to do certain things. All right, let me just go and do it this way then. How about that? I know that's right? I know that's right. Then I'm going to just start off with that one, and then the one behind it should be okay after that, right? And I'm going to give you one PSA behind that, and then the one after that. So let me give you that here for this as the transitional, right? Okay. Thank you for your patience, y'all. And so, again, I seen this cat here, and let me go ahead and no further ado. Let me go ahead and let him go ahead and introduce himself. Maybe you see him, maybe you didn't. Again, black people have been primarily, you know, stigmatized as one party. Well, the new energy and new awareness and consciousness have made us decide to say that we are basically looking at candidates, and we're not talking about parties. So, you know, I seen this cat again. Listen to this, and you tell me what you hear, and I'll tell you what I think. Check it out. I'll be right back.
Governor John Hickenlooper for a CNN Democratic presidential town hall. We have one more audience question, but before we get to that, we've been looking at your memoir, and you have a lot of interesting stories in that book. One of them is about the time you went to see an X-rated movie with your mother. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you so much for that question.
Anytime.
I thought it was better to write a book to let people really see who you were and the dumb things you did as well as the smart things.
And where is that on the spectrum?
On the dumb side.
Okay.
I was the youngest of four, and as I said, my dad died right after I turned 8, and my mother and I had a pretty tempestuous relationship. She was just the most amazing person. And I went off to college, and for the first time, she was alone in the house. And I didn't realize how powerful that was until I got home at Thanksgiving. And I promised, I called a friend in Philadelphia, and these were I didn't know what an X movie was. We thought it was a little naughty, but we didn't think it was that bad. Again, you got to understand, I was 18 years old. And so I came home, and my mother hated to cook. I mean, she was just a strong, powerful woman who got stuff done in her own right. And I got home, and she'd had this huge dinner laid out. And I said, I promised Jed that we would go to the movie theater and see this new movie. You want to come? And it's an X movie. I don't know. And, I was sure that she wouldn't say no. I made a mistake. And she said, I'd love to go, because she didn't want to be left alone in the house again.
It was a pretty famous movie, too.
So I took my mother to see Deep Throat. And to her credit, the first scene is... I didn't ask the question. But I will tell you that my mother was... I'm sure she was mortified, and I said repeatedly, I think we should leave, I think we should go. And my mother was the kind of person that rarely went to a movie. She thought almost every movie would get on TV. Obviously not this one. But she really, once she paid, she was going to stay. And at the end, she knew that I was humiliated, and as we drove home, and you know how the dashboard in the old cars had that kind of green light? And I asked her, I said, well, that was some experience. And she says, well, I thought the lighting was very good in the movie. I thought I saw a little grin in that green light.
Let's get back to the audience.
Yeah, please.
Mary Colburn, a CPA from right here in Atlanta.
Thank you. As a pragmatic progressive, my vote will go to the candidate that is able to flip those middle-of-the-road Trump supporters and has a realistic plan to combat the country's largest issues. What is your plan to dispose of the socialist branding paraded by many conservatives? And how do you plan to appeal to Trump voters who have fundamental policy differences with Democrats, but don't feel like there's a place for them in Trump's Republican Party?
Wow, that's a great question. That is so on spot. Let me just say that I don't like labels. I understand they get used all the time, but they generally objectify people and they diminish them. I was asked if I wanted to be a capitalist, or if I was a capitalist. And, my one response was, in the end, it's as if you asked if I was a nerd in high school. In which case I would have said, well, it's not my first label I'd choose, but it'd be hard to argue with, right? And, I started, if you're going to give me a label, I am a capitalist. I started 20 businesses. I created 1,000 jobs. I helped reinvent a large part of downtown. And I think what we're doing with workforce training and making sure all kids of all ages have the skills to engage, at a high level with these new jobs that are going to come out by the millions. Right now, there are many millions of jobs that require higher levels of skills that businesses can't get filled. And I look at, I understand that the middle class is shrinking, right? And that just because corporations have record profits, it doesn't mean that the country is doing better. I understand that millennials don't hate the idea of buying a house and starting a family. They're just buried in mountains of debt. I understand that Generation Xers, that they shouldn't have to choose between taking care of their parents and sending their kids to college while at the same time not having anything for their own retirement. And I think those are going to be some of the questions that those people that voted for Trump didn't feel they were getting an answer from in the Democratic Party. And I think I can do what we did in Colorado. When I started, we were 40th in job creation. We became, for the last 2 years, according to the U.S. News and World Report, the #1 economy in the country. And we did it by embracing everybody. Everyone was part of designing that. Everyone was expanding access to capital, cutting red tape and bureaucracy, making it easier for entrepreneurs to start businesses. We can do this on a national level and really lift up the entire country.
Governor, thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And thank you, our audience here in Atlanta. Thank you for watching.
All right. So we're back, right? So you got to see a candidate running. His name is John HICKENLOOPER, right? HICKENLOOPER, right? So he was born February 7, 1952. Considered himself as an American politician, businessman. Served as the 42nd governor of Colorado from 2011 to the present date. And he's actually a member of the Democratic Party, right? And we see that he's trying to run for the 2020 candidacy, right? Born in, I think it's Narberth, Pennsylvania. Went to Wesleyan University. He's co-founded the Winscott Brewing Company in Denver. And he was mayor of Denver in 2003, serving 2 terms, right? And so what you see there, again, like I said, PR, right? You got your PR, man. And you know how that go, right? Well, you got to sell your best, you know, put your best foot forward, right? So as a presidential campaign, you know what you want to do. If, you know, I guess one of the main things is when you're campaigning is that you want to be a person who is relatable and likable, right? You don't want to be somebody that the people looking at, you know, lowbrow and that's kind of like, you know, or looking like somebody stinking, right? So you are trying to find something relatable in yourself and presenting it to people so that you're a likable candidate. So we see old HICKENLOOPER, right? HICKENLOOPER decided that he said he gonna tell you a story when he was about 18 years old. Right? He said, I was about 18 years old, you know, kind of like the little honey I seen right at school. And, you know, according to what he said in the video that you started, he kind of considered himself a nerd, right? He kind of, you know what I'm saying, he's an L7, as they would say, right? He's an L7. And so, you know, L7 is trying to finally got the girl to say yes, she'll go out with you to the movies. And we see, John, that shit, name is John. John HICKENLOOPER. Say, hey, I got a great idea. You know, I really want to get something from this girl. So, I don't have the mouthpiece like a Mr. Blows Your Mind. I don't have a mouthpiece like Mr. Blows Your Mind. So, I need something that would kind of, you know, don't have a mouthpiece, but in the process of me taking you is kind of insinuating. It's insinuating everything I want. And I'm kind of taking you out and we're on a date. And I could get some reactions or maybe you will discuss it. And, you know, let me just see how this is going to work. But unbeknownst to John HICKENLOOPER, he come home from that day after he done got the yes from the young lady and said, you know, what I'm going to do is get myself all spiffied up, get on the Old Spice, and get myself ready to go and take, you know, say Miss Ann to the movies. So when he gets home, old mama got to spread out. She done cooked everything, huh? She got the long King Henry VIII table, the buffet style. Like, come on, son, come eat. He looking like, wait a minute, wait a minute. But Mom, I got a date, Mom. Oh, really? Yeah, yeah, Mom, I got a date. I'm gonna go to a movie. Like it's this X movie. Now check this out. Now, okay, see, let me tell you something, John Hickenlooper. You slipped right there, homie. I'm gonna tell you. See, I'm gonna tell you. This is where you slipped at in the story. Now, some of them was in the audience. They was laughing. It was funny, but you know. It just, again, it's kind of, you know, black folks got this intuition thing that we can sense, you know, truth, right? We got a natural, you know, they say that the black hair, right, is antennas, right? So, you know, everybody talking about the coarseness and the nappiness. Well, that's just the receptors of nonsense and bullshit, right? We have that. And so, you know, that's why people say black people always lying. Well, we don't be lying. We just read the bull, right? And so let me just say it like this. So he said he 18, X. He didn't know nothing about X-rated movies, right? 18. Now, again, if I'm not mistaken, he born in 52? Did I say 52? Oh, let me go back and look again. Hold on, y'all. Let me look. Let me make sure this. He said he 18, right? Him say him 18, he born in 52. So that means he talking about 70. Now, yeah, that's about the time these X-rated movies is coming out. You know what I'm saying? They understand. Matter of fact, the movie that he talking about, right? I will talk about that when we get there. So he is 18, don't know much about X-rated movies, right? Right? The movies. Okay, we give you that. I give you that. Maybe you didn't know, right? It was a new movie, X-rated movie. But Mama didn't have no game. She didn't know either. And matter of fact, due to the story, he said Daddy had passed away. So Mama lonely. Mama lonely. So that's why she's making trying to have it so she can have some companionship with her son. But came a crossroad and he had a choice to make, and he tried to come with a good idea. Say, well, maybe if I ask her, sometimes people like to ask people, knowing they want them to say what they really want. They do it out of courtesy, hoping that the people gonna respond the way they really want, and then they throw a monkey wrench when they ask and say, oh, well, I don't mind if I do, right? So that's what happened with old John Hickenlooper, right? So Mama like, I'll go along too. And he looking like, okay, well, fine. Okay, you coming. Now, again, he 18, Mama, grown folk too. And Miss Ann going with John Hickenlooper, right? So they get to the movie. And matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, let me, wait a minute. If I'm not mistaken, y'all, somebody put it in those who might know, go ahead, put it in the comment. I thought those movies came at late midnight. You didn't go through the daytime. I thought those were them late shows, right? So, all right, I already got Pinocchio, right? All right, we're going to go with what you say, John. We're going to go on with your story, what you're saying. All right, whatever you say. So he said he get in there, take his mama to see Deep Throat. Deep Throat. One of the first one come out, taking it, huh? Taking it down like a soldier, huh? And so here you in there. He got Miss Ann. You was trying to entice with that. I don't know how you didn't tell us the end play with how that worked, because Miss Ann should have been like, what's this? And you know what I'm saying? But Miss Ann ain't had no problem. Mama was like, you talking about you embarrassment. Mama was like, we ain't gotta go nowhere. You understand? So again, let me just say this, right? Because he talk about some other things, but I'm just saying, what kind of story is that you going to come out on a candidacy? Now, again, I guess the way that the script was written out, that she posed the question, right? But we kind of learned about the DNC, about what the Hillary Clinton and what was her name? What was that? The one that she from the bill? She about to be on CNN or Fox News, right? She just got the job. That they get the questions ahead of time. Right, we know that, right? We done found that out, like we found out a lot of other things, right? So it is. Why would you want to pose that question? Again, you try to make something relatable that you know people and this porn and all this stuff, and you want to show that you regular John, regular Joe, right? And so you use that to try to connect with the people. But I think it looked at a little bit more kind of HICKENLOOPER. Right? It looked a little hickin', right? Because what came to mind to me was this, right? This came to mind to me. You know, I've been doing some reading over some time, right? And I remember there was this thing called the Oedipus complex. You ever heard of that before? Oedipus complex, right? Where they talked about the sexual desire of the son for his mother, his desire for the parent, both male and female, the boy and the girl, to experience complex, right, about sexuality with the parent. Now, subconsciously, was that in there? Dad ain't there no more. And they said that the son would fight the father, or the son would fight the father for over the mother. And some people said that's where the origin of motherfucker come from. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, well, subliminal, some subconscious shit, because again, mama should have been like, what the fuck you done took me to, right? And Miss Ann should have been, but everybody seemed like everybody was game. The only one seen that had an issue was old John HICKENLOOPER. Oh, John HICKENLOOPER had an issue with that, with the everybody else that was in the entourage was like, what we gonna do, John? So anyway, as a Democrat coming out, black folks, I don't think black folks, man, I don't even know. I mean, you too wild. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That might turn some, the lost ones might be turned on, but you know what I'm saying? Everybody else who a little kind of that, you done blew that. You done blew that right out the water, unless, you know, you go into the strip club, you might get some of them. Like, oh, John, you get down like that. But, you know, it is what it is, right? So he said he don't like labels, and, you know, he's kind of a capitalistic nerd. Basically, that's what done happened. All the people, when we go back and look over your life, and again, whether it just fits you or not, again, I don't put no one down or nothing. Again, I'm just saying this is my show. You know, I do commentary and things of that, so don't take anything personal, right? So, you know, being a nerd basically was like back in the day, you know what I'm saying? You drank the Kool-Aid in school. You drank it all with, you know, again, all the ingredients and everything, where some people were kind of like, you know, I'm not drinking, what's that? And, you know, question this and this and that, and then they take it all. And, you know, if we went to school in this day and age, a lot of boys would be a B student just on the 70, right? Remember the last show, right? So he said he's kind of a nerd, you know, if it has to be the case. He don't like labels. They're kind of objective, but I'm a nerd, but a capitalist, but look what the kind of stuff I done did. Well, yes, the system has now, it's like Revenge of the Nerds. Y'all been old school shit, Revenge of the Nerds, right? That's basically what done happened. All the people who was the outcasts when you was in school, what they call emos, and you know, the ones that sit in the corner and smoke all the cigarettes, and the ones nobody ain't fuck with, the one that carries and all that shit. Well, them the motherfuckers running the world. So everybody who was in the in crowd, kind of popular ones and all that, we are at the whims of the nerds, and they is going full blast with this shit, y'all. Real talk. The nerds, Revenge of the Nerds is real talk. And so, as you see, Gen X is the one who is really being burdened, because Gen X got to take care. Sometimes baby boomer, right? If baby boomers before Gen X, and if the baby boomer don't have nothing to suffice themselves to maintain, then Gen X job is to try to maintain and help them. But then yet they got behind in the millennials that they're suffering too. So Gen X, you running Gen X in the damn ground, right? And millennials are just deaded out their damn mind. So it's like, man, Revenge of the Nerds done took out, because it was around that Gen X time when a lot of the, you know what I'm saying, some of the, you know, when the game was changing was that. So anyway, so there's your man. If you think he said something that you like, John HICKENLOOPER, right? John HICKENLOOPER. There you go. John HICKENLOOPER. Now, next candidate that I seen, right? The next one, a lot of people a little familiar with, right? You know, she been out there a little bit, right? She said some, you know, a couple nice syllables that some people like to hear. And let me see if hold on, y'all, cause see, I got mixed up a little bit here, right? I think I'm gonna make sure I got everything right here, right? I think I got it all right here, right? I think I got it right. You know what I'm saying? It do that sometimes, right? It get out of place, but we gonna make it do what it do, right? We gonna make it do what it do. And so this one here kind of came out, had a little, I won't say a controversy, I'll just say that there was some questionable aspects, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like, you know, when they talk about the college scandal. I think you might be kind of in there that somebody was to do a review, right? But that maybe another time in another place. I may elaborate after the fact, but let me show you who I'm talking about. And let me go ahead and hit it and check this out and be right back.
Comes from Georgia Karan. She's a graduate student here at Jackson State University. Georgia.
Hi, Georgia.
Hi. Thank you, Senator Warren, for taking my
hold
question.
The mic up there.
Thank you so much for taking my question. I am an African-American female with 5 beautiful adult children and 10 grandchildren.
Oh, Georgia, count your blessings every day.
Please describe to me what a public apology for 400 years of free labor in the South, especially Mississippi, will look like in the African American community in the new election.
All right. Thank you, Georgia.
In the new administration.
Thank you. So, America was founded on principles of liberty and freedom and on the backs of slave labor. This is a stain on America, and we're not going to fix that, we're not going to change that until we address it head on, directly. And make no mistake, it's not just the original founding. It's what's happened generation after generation. The impact of discrimination handed down from one to the next means that today in America, because of housing discrimination, because of employment discrimination, we live in a world where for the average white family has $100, the average black family has about $5. So I believe it's time to start the national, full-blown conversation about reparations in this country. And that means I support the bill in the House to appoint a congressional panel of experts, of people who are studying this, who talk about different ways we may be able to do it, and to make a report back to Congress so that we can, as a nation, do what's right and begin to heal. Thank you. Thank you.
Senator, if I could just follow up on George's question. You've said you're open to a conversation about reparations to the descendants of slaves and also to Native Americans. You also said, might that include direct payments, direct financial transfer of money?
So there are a lot of ways to think about how reparations should be formed. And I notice Georgia's question actually started with just the frame of an apology, right? With the frame of a national recognition. We have a lot of experts around the country, a lot of activists who have a whole lot of different approaches to it. And I think the best we can do right now, I love the idea of this congressional commission. Let's bring people together and let's open that conversation as Americans. Let's see what ideas people want to put on the table and let's talk them through. Because I got to tell you, ignoring the problem is not working.
Let me bring in Jake Fuchsia. He's
Elizabeth Warren gives a full-throated endorsement for reparations at CNN Town Hall. You know I'm going to say that again. Elizabeth Warren gives a full-throated endorsement for reparations at CNN Town Hall. This story here was done March the 18th, 2019, coming from the Vox. And this is how it reads. Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat of Massachusetts, who is seeking the party's nomination in the 2020 presidential race, speaks during a campaign event on March 8th. Warren didn't say whether that she include financial reparations. Senator Elizabeth Warren gave a ringing endorsement to the ideal of reparations for the families of former slaves at a CNN town hall held at Jackson State University on Monday night. While Warren stopped short of calling for direct payments, she threw her support behind a bill in the United States House to study the issue and acknowledge the persistence of racial injustice in America. This is a stain on America, and we're not going to fix that. We're not going to change that until we addressed it head on directly, Warren said, and makes no mistakes. It's not just the original founding, it's just what happened generation after generation. Warren said some of the most prominent examples of continued racial discrimination in the United States is housing and employment discrimination against black families. Because housing discrimination and employment discrimination, we live in a world where the average white family has $100, the average black family has about $5, she said. So I believe it's time to start the national full-blown conversation about reparations in this country, and that means I support the bill in the House to appoint a congressional panel of experts, people that are studying this and talking about different ways we may be able to do it and make a report back to Congress so that we can, as a nation, do what's right and begin to heal. Warren has already released a sweeping affordable housing bill called the American Housing and Economic Mobility Act. The bill would dramatically increase the federal government's investment into affordable housing. $450 billion over 10 years that would help build or refurbish 3 million affordable housing units and create 1.5 million new jobs, according to an independent Moody analyst. Warren, Richard, and advocates say the bill will bring down rising housing and rental costs, which they say have reached crisis levels in the United States. Anybody in here worrying about the rising price of housing? She asked the CNN townhouse audience to applaud in the same way that we think about health care as a basic human right. Having a decent and safe place to live should be a basic human right. As Vox PR Lockhart recently wrote, some presidential candidates besides Warren's have expressed some level of support for reparations. Senator Kamala Harris, former Housing and Urban Development Secretary Julian Castro have also acknowledged it as an important issue. Other candidates are proposed ideas to close the racial wealth gap, including Senator Cory Booker and Bernie Sanders. The Ideal of Financial Reparation, an ideal given new life by Ta-Nehisi Coates in 2014 Atlantic article. The case for reparation has typically been unpopular with the American public. Two polls in 2018 both found support for reparations at about 26%. Still, Warren details answers on reparation and the history of discriminatory housing in America shows she's taking it seriously. All right, so we back. So we see there, we seen Elizabeth Warren. And, remember that was the one that Donald Trump had called Pocahontas, right? Remember that she had originally came out, considered herself to be of the native tribe, that she said she was some Indian in her family, right? Because every time black folks see it and say we got some Indian in their family, to show them test, they ain't gonna never be able to reveal it, right? Even when people say, I remember when I say was it Morgan Freeman talking about I have Choctaw in my family. They was like, no Choctaw. You mean they lied to me? No Choctaw? I'm like, no Choctaw in there. According to our tests, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people believe that those tests reveal the exact and the fact. Anything that can be, without everybody else having their input. Don't give me just scientists. I'm talking about who came up with the way it was constructed to teach you how you're going to get the results. May still get the same results they wanted because they didn't teach you everything. You understand what I'm saying? But anyway. So anyway, Elizabeth Warren, you said that she was Indian, then she went ahead and got her DNA test, and kind of find out that she didn't, and even those again on the reservation was like, it ain't about it's about the bloodline. They ain't got nothing, you know what I'm saying? Culture, right? You ain't just gonna come in here with this 5-cent Indian stuff. So anyway, after that whole took place, it kind of deflated her a little bit. So now she's coming back again. She went through the HBCUs and she came out of her mouth about reparations, right? And then, she was one of those that they were saying, hey, Elizabeth Warren is down for reparations. And so that gave her some revigoration according to those who believe everything that is being said. And so what we see this time, when she is now at a town hall meeting in Mississippi. And then, the one thing I just had to say to the sister that sat there said that, right, that did that question on that. She sat there and said about that I'm an African American woman. I'm still, because this sister said that she was actually a student at the school, right? She was a student at the school. But she has 5 children and 10 grandchildren, which means that she's a little, she's seasoned, she's older. And I'm saying, why is it that, this separatism when it comes to us being ADOS, DOS, BADOS. Now, I'm not saying all. Again, some but all, right? Some but all. I mean, some but not all, right? Some but all, right? So, when you do that, you're trying to kind of like a stiff arm, right? You're trying to tackle me, and I stiff arm to keep you from tackling me. And so, trying to make your gender exclusive from your race separates you. You just, as an African American, we don't have to say, well, I say, BADOS, but if you're gonna say that, just encompass it all. What is this separation about? I'm a woman versus that which is a male. There ain't no distinction, because black, when he say black, is black. You understand? So anybody who has that and does a thought of a notion, just remember that. When they say black is black, it ain't got nothing to do about your gender. Now, they may, again, use that to separate you and get you over here, over there. But in all totality, we all in this together. That's what the whole thing ain't. Gonna be no reparation for black women only, black men only, black children only. It's gonna be the black family, period. So quit trying to separate. Encompass it all. We are one. We are one. No matter, we are one. Huh? All right, so moving on. So, I thought she threw a little punch when after you said you had 5 and 10 kids. She said, oh, it was a nice pack. When the last time you heard that word pack when it comes to black people? Sound like some shit that Mel Gibson had said. Remember? I'm dressed like that. There's going to be a fucking pack of niggers. You remember that shit? Remember when Mel Gibson talking about that pack of nigga shit? Yeah, all right. Okay, Elizabeth, you slipped that in there, but I might have smelt it. I might have smelt my antenna was up a little bit. I'm going to let you go, though. Okay, so she said, then the question that the sister had said, she said about the public apology, but she kind of making the South and the community in the South. Well, again, you can't. It's not about one specific over the other. We are one. Do I have to go play it? We are one. Mississippi, South Carolina, Tennessee, no matter, especially of the rebel states, we are one. So when they do the apology, it ain't going to be just specifically just for Mississippi. It's going to be for all of us. You understand? So again, I know maybe, again, under the lights and stuff, and then maybe just sometimes some people, they not thinking about what they saying, but make it inclusive, sister. You know, ball that fist together and raise it high. You understand? So anyway, so she said, what would the apology in the South, you know, in the community, what would that be like? You know what I'm saying? So Elizabeth Warren, okay, they clapped. Okay, right? So they said, well, you know, this country is built on principles of freedom and liberty. And then she said, and on the backs of slaves. Wait a minute. What do you mean? Freedom and liberty. For who? See, sometimes some words you just can't say because it's only showing the, again, separatist aspect to the whole thing that you meant. You should just say that we had principles and that this country was built on, right, the backs of slaves, because those who the backs of slave and the descendancies, as you said, it has continued generation to generation, don't know what freedom and liberty is. They don't know what that is, right? That's a foreign word. That's like talking in another language that I do not discern, or you know, I don't discern or understand what you're saying. And so, you know, talking about the original foundings, right? Well, that's right. The original foundings, just go back to the original foundings, right? And it goes all the way back to the fact that when you give a stat, like you said, about, well, white folks average about $100 to the black folks is $5. Well, I guess why? Because 95% of everything that we got, you took. You never compensated, right? And so, with that being said, that's why this topic of reparation is, you know, need to be on the table, because again, we, as I just said on the last show about the $68 trillion that is going to be, right, distributed to primarily white people, right? Then those of $5 going to shrink down to about $1, if not even that, some change. You understand? Scrambling. And so this thing, as the slick talk that you're going to have to recognize now. Check this slick talk out. Mugg said, we're going to start the conversation of reparations. See, we still talking. You know how some people say, man, black people, we got to build, we're talking too much. And I disagree to that, because I don't think we ain't talked enough, because a lot of stuff, a lot of people just don't know. So in our case, you know how they said that they had the, I guess it was the Renaissance, they called it, right? Well, black folks got to go through this whole thing too, right? We got to be re-taught, relearn, get a lot of purge out some of that old shit, right? And get more unified, because again, just like the conversation that the sister was just saying in her, just, you know, stating her question, it was separate, black woman, right? No, we all one. So we got some work to do still. But in the prime time, meantime, this conversation of reparation definitely needs to be on the table. And more than just a conversation, right? So basically what you hear her saying here is that she supports the bill. Now, what bill is she talking about? For those, again, you seen the last show, I read for you H.R. Bill 40, right? And gave you the whole rundown of that bill. So basically, if you listen to what she said, that's all she just said. All she said is she support the bill, right? She didn't say she's going to, if she gets elected, she's going to, because that, think about this. Okay, let me say this. So if you support the bill still got a process it has to do. You remember, yes, I'm only a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey where I was in wait. Huh? So that bill been sitting since 89. That bill is the real bill back in the days who was around when they seen that condom. Yes, I'm only a bill. That bill been sitting for 30 years. You understand? So what we need is some expedite. You need to expedite that. And so the only way to expedite it is to executive order it. Hello? Hello? Anybody here? Anybody here? Listen to me. That bill been sitting for 30 years. We don't need no conversation. Your stats telling you exactly the damage. The apology is well overdue. You understand? Hundreds of years overdue. Matter of fact, since 1865, we're going to say 150 plus years overdue. So instead of you talking about supporting the bill, why don't you say expedite the bill? Why not say I'm going to executive order the bill if I should get elected? Right? All the apologies, that's great. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, back in the day when you was a kid, remember that? You tell somebody something, but you say, I had my fingers crossed when I told them later that I had my fingers crossed. I don't know who taught us that shit. You know that probably some European shit. Don't cross your fingers even though I said what I said, but I didn't mean what I said. Well, that's what that's saying. You cross your fingers and shit, and I just said that. I didn't really mean that shit. Well, executive order is shit, because again, the conversation can drag on, and there's time dragging on. The other people are getting pushed out, and as we go into the show, I'm going to show what I'm talking about on that, right? And we see that, Ta-Nehisi Coates had wrote that the case of reparation, which again I had read about 22 minutes because that would probably been 2 hours worth of read. It's a very good read. I suggest that I gave you that you went in there and go read it. But he laid down and showed you the historical aspect of how this whole thing, and again the conversation. Yes, that's good, but this needs to be expedited. It needs to just really get some. It should have had legs by now, right? It's been sitting for 30 years, and then to have people sitting out here bickering as to who needs it don't matter. Let me put it to you like this. Anybody heard Walter Payton? You remember Walter Payton used to play for the Chicago Bears, right? And all them years in the 70s, Walter Payton was carrying the damn team. 275 yards against Minnesota. He was killing. He was the team. That's what you watch, right? You know what I'm saying? The highlights back in the day was Walter Payton. When how said, here comes Walter Payton, right? All that shit. But then when they finally got to the Super Bowl back in the 80s, and they got down, I think they was on the goal line. Now, all them years of service that Walter Payton had been, running that ball, carrying all them yards, was the leading rusher at that time. You know who they gave the ball to in the Super Bowl when they was basically blowing out New England Patriots? They gave the ball to the Fridge. Huh? Gave the ball to the Fridge. Fridge got the touchdown. Walter Payton died knowing in his heart he should have got the ball, right? And so that's how it is here. See, you got people who've been fighting all this time, and then they're going to be mad because you gave the ball to the Fridge, right? You gave the ball to the Fridge. I was supposed to get the ball. But it don't matter about who. It's about who got across the line and we get to score if you're about a team player. right? As I said in the last show. So Ta-Nehisi Coates, again, put it out where a lot of people, they just didn't like, because again, they're not trying to see themselves in that light as to the wrongs. And if it is wrong, okay, well, get over it. That's their whole remedy. Get over it. They don't see the fact that the cause and effects of what done transpired and then the conditions that you see have nothing to do with transpired that done generationally done been through. They don't care about that. And so here it is, Elizabeth Warren, who's trying to run on that, is basically just saying about the HR 40 bill, but really not saying nothing substantial on her own what she's going to do. That's already established before you even get in there. So what are you going to do when you get in there? I suggest you executive order it. That's some food for thought. Moving on. All right. So let's move on here. Now we're going to start getting into some of this here, because I think this has got to be said. Again, I don't say this because I'm against people. Right? I'm not saying this because I'm against you. I'm saying it because I, as a descendant of the greatest people who created the greatest land, what they call the United States, am seeing something being formulated, and I don't know if people really recognize it or just mums the word. Now, the first story here, again, I'll play it and then I'll talk about it after the fact. But I'm just going to set it up. Well, first one is going to have something to do with a situation with as a child, right? You got a child, right? And, you know, as adults, we love children. You know, so they hard-headed and shit. You got to keep telling them shit over and over. But in the totality of it all, you love your children. And you like other people's children, right? But you may have some, you know, maybe some you know, distance as to how you do what you do. But, you know, again, if they're too rambunctious, ain't too wild, you know, so you can conversate with them and, you know, spit a little something to them. You know, they're all good. Right? But again, they said self-preservation is number one, right? So you take care of your house, right? And if you take care of your house, again, as I think them scriptures have said, don't look at the thorn in my eye without looking at the thistle in your own eye. First learn how to take the thistle out your eye, and then tell me or teach me how to get the thorn out my eye. What are you saying, Mr. Blow Your Mind? Well, what I'm saying is, take care of yours first. And then, once I take care of mine, then I can help you to learn how to take care of yours. Well, let me show you this first, and then I'm going to show you where it relies in this, what I'm talking about. So, first of all, let me play this, get this set up for you. Boom, boom, boom. And I got to put them in there, right? Where they at? Where they at, though? I need the other one. Where they at, though? That, and give me that one again. Play it one more time, Sam. All right, let's do it. Ready? Hit it.
At just 8 years old, Tani Adewumi is well on his way toward mastering the extremely difficult game of chess, and that alone is an impressive feat. But it's even more remarkable when you hear Tani's story. He's a chess champion capturing hearts. Tani Adewumi beat out 73 other children to win the New York State Championship for kindergarten through third grade. Not only did he win, he went undefeated. An unlikely outcome since he learned the game just a year ago, but getting here wasn't easy. The third grader, his older brother, and parents have been living in a New York City homeless shelter since fleeing Nigeria 2 years ago, fearing attacks by the terror group Boko Haram. The family says they are seeking religious asylum. Tani enrolled in the local elementary school where chess coaches Russell Makovsky and Sean Martinez taught him how to play. The young refugee's incredible story has gone viral. Makovsky set up a GoFundMe page for the family. Within 3 days, thousands of strangers had donated over $100,000. They head into an apartment today.
I'm so proud of him.
The family overwhelmed, thankful, and now ready for their next move. And we're so happy to have Tani with us now, along with his coaches, Russell Makovsky and Sean Martinez, who we just call Coach Russell and Coach Sean. Thank you so much. Tani, this must be so overwhelming. How did you feel when you won that championship?
I felt surprised.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't believe you were that good, that fast? Yeah.
When did you learn how to play chess, Tani? Is it something you'd played before?
No.
Yeah?
I, like, a little bit over a year ago.
Why did you start? How did you get into it?
I got into it when my brother, he started teaching me chess, but he didn't teach me the right rules. Until Coach Sean came, and then he taught me the right rules.
What do your coaches mean to you?
They mean a lot. Like, they're really supportive.
When you meet a young boy like this, and he's never taken chess for real, how did you go about teaching him? And did he just pick it up like that?
Every kid deserves the opportunity to learn chess, and Tani was no different. He wanted to play, and we wanted to have him. And his acceleration of his progress and his interest and his enthusiasm really took him from first learning how to move the pieces to being, he was competitive very quickly. And it was actually something he did. We didn't give him any extra opportunity. He was just part of the chess club, and it's all him.
Coach Sean, when did you know, okay, this is potentially a prodigy. This is someone who really has a gift.
I mean, I started seeing him performing at tournaments really well and consistently, and that's part of being a really good competitor, is being consistent with it. And he just showed a lot of natural talent, especially at the state championships when in his fourth round game, he ended up sacrificing a bishop, which in my opinion was like a master level idea.
Wow.
For a pawn?
For a pawn, yeah. And he really impressed me. I actually had to plug it into the computer because I wanted to make sure he was completely accurate. And he went from, so if you go plus, white's better. If you go negative, black's better. And he went plus 80 after that move. So I was completely mind blown that he found.
I know not of what you speak.
Yeah, we don't speak chess. Does that mean like
it's a good move.
just 6 moves?
Yeah, so
it's a good move.
Evaluation.
That was a good move.
Thank you.
It's a great move. That's a great move.
Wow.
Can you show us a move?
Yeah.
Can you show us like one of your good, like how would you start a match? What would be your first move?
Don't give away all your secrets.
Wait, if I'm white or black?
If you'll be white since you're on that side.
Okay.
Is it always the same first move?
No.
Did you see how he answered you?
He's just like,
I'm sorry I asked it. Done.
Bye-bye.
Checkmate.
See how that was? I was trying. That was my strategy.
Carson wants to know, does this help you with Fortnite?
That's what I want to know. Are you good at other games like checkers or Monopoly or checkmate?
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 Oh, he brought his king
Look
up.
at that.
It's queen. It's a queen.
Excuse me. You brought your queen on your second move?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're aggressive.
Guys, there's another part of this story, which of course you know. Tani and his family just moved here from Nigeria, fleeing religious persecution. They're Christians. They were fleeing the terror group Boko Haram. They were, this whole time, while he's excelling at chess, living in a homeless shelter. When you found out their backstory, what did you think? Doesn't this make him even more extraordinary?
When he won the state championship, and I went back to the early communication between me and his mother, and the reference of her being in a homeless shelter, I have many students, and the fact that it might have slipped my mind at that point, and when I followed up with her and that she confirmed she was still there, broke my heart. I said, not on our watch, not in this community, not in this city. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Well, they happen to be in our studio. Your
Mr.
mom,
and Mrs. Adewami,
Dad, your brother is there. You must be so proud of your son.
Is this genetic? Are you guys great at chess too?
Yeah.
Tani said,
My brother is also good.
Your brother is also good.
Well, there's good news because a GoFundMe page was set up, and I believe a generous donor has come forward and said there's an apartment that the family can use.
So I'd like to say to everybody, thank you. People are kind, people are good, and that showed this couple of days, and I've been in the forefront. The love is deep, the love is real. Tani's going to be moving into a home. After we leave here, we're getting his bags, he's moving into a home.
Wow.
Tani's no longer homeless. Tani has a home. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, honey. We love you.
That is
We're happy you're here. Thank you.
Keep crushing.
Coming back. Is your trophy? You got a big trophy, right?
Yeah.
How big is it?
It's half of my size.
It's behind
Oh,
How far can he go in chess? Like, what is the future hold?
So right now he's rated at about 1,500, which is above average for his age, pretty much. If he gains, say, another 500 points, he could be the next expert, next youngest expert. So the way he's moving right now and the acceleration he's going, I think he could shoot for the stars, you know?
This sounds like a story we should watch. Have you back.
Definitely.
Well, thank you to both of you coaches for what you're doing on the board and off the board, of course.
Pretty cool. Thanks, guys.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Our next guest is an Oscar-winning actress who starred in the record-breaking blockbuster Black Panther, and now she's scaring audiences in the new horror film Us, which already has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yes, please welcome Lupita Nyong'o.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. We are so excited. I know y'all have seen the trailer so far. I mean, this not only is this a new genre for you, but you're playing two different roles, and sometimes you're on the screen together with just yourself. I mean, how challenging was that? How exciting?
It was pretty challenging. I never got to meet my scene partner, you know. And so it was quite the technical challenge, and of course, to play both roles took a lot out of me. They're very different to each other, and they're coming for each other, you know. So it took a lot of like acting with a green dot on a pole and things like that. So I was very surprised to see the movie and to see how they so seamlessly made it work, you know.
Because you wouldn't know that.
And it is a horror film, and you may have been a little too convincing, because I hear you scared a fan at a screening.
I wasn't even trying. That's the thing.
Really convincing.
I went to the toilet, as one does, you know, and she came out of the stall before me, and I came out of my stall, and she freaked out. She was washing her hands very zen-like, and then she looked up and she was like, ah! And then she just held her heart.
So, if there is something, what do you think is the scariest thing about you?
Well, what's scary about me is that I really like scaring people. So that's, I'm one of those, like, before the film came out, my mom was terrified of seeing this film, and in fact, she watched it with her eyes closed and her fingers in her ears, so she hasn't really seen it. But a week before, she came from Kenya, and I lay in wait at the foot of her bed.
Oh, no.
Before she got to bed, and I got up and I said, "Are you looking for me?"
I almost went like this. Oh, boy.
Now, it is a mind-bending idea. This family that you're in the movie is being terrorized by a family that looks just like them. You guys ready to see some?
Please.
You know how sometimes things line up? Yeah. You know, like coincidences. Since we've been here, they've been happening more and more. I feel like it means like she's getting closer.
Who? The mirror girl?
You don't believe me.
Ooh. Okay, I'm scared.
I almost did this to you know, because when you watch a film like that, you don't know when something's gonna happen like that.
A lot of that. Yep.
You're a big Jordan Peele fan.
Yes.
Yeah. It's true you snuck out of Black Panther production to go see Get Out how many times?
I didn't sneak out. It was my days off. But I went to see it 5 times in 1 month. Wow. Yeah, it came out when we were shooting it.
You know, some are calling Jordan the next Hitchcock. And when you think back, the way we got to know him was through comedy.
Right.
What is he like on the set?
He's actually, you know, he's a very even-keeled, warm, focused person. Of course, this is a very intense movie, and he had the levity. He does it with such passion, and he enjoys it so much. And sometimes he would make fun of us, you know. He definitely would do this Nakia impression on set. The Nakia dance. It was not accurate, but it definitely got us, you know, a little lighter and just loose and ready to play.
He's brilliant.
Yeah, he's amazing.
But he also gave you homework, so you could be prepared. So he gave you 10 or so horror films to watch. Were there any standouts?
Well, okay, so they went in an order from the mildest to the most intense, and the last one was Martyrs, and it had a little footnote, enter at your own risk.
Oh.
And I was like, wow, okay. So I saved it for last, and by the end of it, I never did my homework alone. I always had a friend over that I'd bribed with one thing or another. And at the end of it, my friend said, okay, I'm going home, and I just started to cry because I was so scared of being alone. Oh, do not watch it. Don't do it to yourself.
You know who's not scary?
Who?
Winston Duke.
Oh,
he is. I mean, so brilliant. So what was it like to know that you all would be working together again?
Well, we went to drama school together, so we have a long-standing friendship, and you know, I trust him, and he's so brilliant, and I trust him as a friend and as, of course, a colleague as well. So to just have that comfort, you know, going into this film, much bigger of a role than I've ever played, and having him by my side, it was like home, you know? It was easy chemistry.
I can imagine you gave him the call, and you're like, you've got to do this.
Oh, yes, I texted him when I got cast and Jordan told me he was interested in him. I texted Winston and said, read that script, say yes, and show up.
That's an order.
And Us is coming out on Friday, but also Star Wars, Black Panther, those two franchises you're a part of. They both have new movies that are coming out, but all these things are so shrouded in secrecy. So I'm not even going to ask you to give us something about both of them, but give us something about one. Just one.
I can give you something about both.
Oh, give us something about both.
Star Wars comes out before Black Panther.
You're good. That is breaking. LUPITA, I'll tell you what, every time we see, we're so happy to have you here.
Gosh.
This movie, we can't wait to see it. So highly anticipated, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, as we said, which is very, very hard to do. And go ahead, Robin, I'm sorry.
Can I say this, how incredibly proud we are of you? I mean, you come on to the scene, you win the Oscar, you are just the same, just down to earth, so talented and sharing with others, and it's just so great to see that. So thank you.
And
doesn't happen often.
Yes, Us hits theaters this Friday. Make sure you check out LUPITA, everybody.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.
Says Us, a 2019 film. Us is a 2019 American psychological horror film written and directed by Jordan Peele. The film stars Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, and Elizabeth Moss, and Tim Heidecker. And follows a family who are confronted by a group of doppelgangers. Right? And it says the project was first announced in February 2018. Much of the cast joined that summer. Peele produced the film alongside Jason Blum and Sean McKittrick, with the two trio previously having collaborated on Get Out and Black Klansman, as well as Ian Cooper. Filming took place from July to October 2018 in California. U.S. So Us had its world premiere at South by Southwest on May 8, 2018, and is scheduled for release in the United States on March 22, 2019 by Universal Pictures. Like Peele, previous horror film Get Out. The film was praised for its screenplay, direction, acting, musical score, and cinematography, with IGN calling it a marvelous new American horror story. Okay, and okay, and that's Us, right? What's the premise? So the premise is husband and wife Gabe and Adelaide Wilson take their children to their beach house, hoping to spend some time with friends. Their serenity soon turns to tension and chaos when a group of evil strangers who look exactly like them arrive. All right, so we back. So you see that the first video was talking about a little shorty about 8 years old named Tani. I think it's Adewabdi, right? And looks like him and his family are running from persecution from Boko Haram from Nigeria. And looks like that, again, being able to come here for religious asylum, I think, for religious purposes, right? They were able to come here, become the status of a refugee, and have been homeless and living in shelters and things of that nature, right? And, you know, again, as being an ADOS, BODOS, or ABDOS, or BADOS, DOS, right? You know, again, my analogy would always be, I got an extra bed, or I got a place on the floor. I got some space for you. I got a couple, you know, extra pieces of bread. You always welcome, right? Never turn a needy person away when they're in need, right? That's just the philosophy way of common courtesy and what we would consider humanity. Right? So we see that, again, you know, due to, you know, religious persecution and, you know, there's a lot of turmoil in that. And I think that's a lot of people going back into the 70s from Nigeria were coming based on that as well, right? And so we see that this family here seem to be down on their luck, right? Seem like there's no kind of extension, even though they was able to be granted to get here. I don't understand how you can grant somebody here and then you don't set up for them in no way, right? So anyway, we see that the shorty ends up getting enrolled in school. Somehow he gets to the chess. I see how the coach is, but I don't understand how he got there. But okay, he got in chess, and he kind of excelled, right? And, you know, that's a good thing, you know. Nothing wrong with having a good, sharp mind, especially when you're young. That's a good thing. I mean, I'm, you know, teaching some of the boys, bringing chess to them, to give them to understand, get that, you know, learn how to, you know, have, you know, be yourself in situations, learn how to critically analyze, and learn how to get up out of situations, right? Chess is good for the mind, right? And so we see that little Tani excel to the fact that he became the best in third grade, right? And the two coaches that end up becoming his coach seeing that he has a lot of great potential. But again, he was in a dire situation, right? So I'm looking at it from this standpoint. Now, again, you know, little cat, family from Nigeria, again, you know, as having descendancy of the continent that resides in us as ADOS, DOS, and BADOS. You know, there is, you know, there's some kinship in that, right? There's some kinship in it, right? There's some kinship. And so they said, well, you know, they asked him, you know, how'd you learn how to play chess, right? Did y'all peep that? How'd you learn? And he said he had learned from his brother. He said his brother taught him how to play. But then he said, oh, but my brother, you know, he taught me, he didn't teach me the right rules. He didn't teach you the right rules. Remember when they asked, you know, is everybody does it run in the family? And nobody said nothing. No one said nothing. And they act as if like their father had nothing to do with them. Did y'all catch that? Like the father was like, he's there, but he not there. Because when the coach is like, well, I want to go talk to the mother. Well, how you not talking to the father too? Right? Because they in a situation with the father being there too, right? Okay. And so, you know, they said, you know, they call this story once a pond a time, right? Pond, like in chess, a pond. And so what we see is somebody came with a grandiose idea that, okay, he's excelling and we need to pitch this, right? So they pitched this and it got them $144,000, right? It's enough they could actually probably get them a nice little, they might could get them a condo, right? You know what I'm saying? Might be able to get a condo, you know. So that get them out. You know what I'm saying? So when they leave from the studio from doing that, they're going to go right and move in. They got their bags and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So somebody got an idea. Now, remember the other day when I did the show, when I was talking about, here it is, when we're talking about the college scandal, that black people be looking at their God's gift, how they going to get into the white man stuff. But when the white man looking at you, he looking at all the money he going to make from you. So that's what I kind of see here, right? And again, you know, based on the position that we as ADOS, DOS, BADOS, you know, the house getting crowded. Now again, on the humanity side of the game, we're going to do what's right. But, you know, this thing that just keep being prevalent in our face as if like we ain't peeping it, and you got all kinds of, you know, slants to it to present it, and it's like, okay, I'll say that story that they said, the backstory of how the young man Tani Abdulwi and his family, how they got here. We have many and worse tragic stories right here in the United States. But they don't have chess teams at their school. They may have a park that they can go to, or some old players around that might have some and may put the game to them, but they don't have chess coach. You understand? Now, if you want some real tragic stories about somebody who come from a generation where mama got cracked out, daddy done went to jail, brother done got killed, you know, grandmama tried to do everything, you know what I'm saying? We got some stories here with some very intelligent young shorties in BADOS, DOS, ADOS. We got some. But I don't think nobody goes out their way. And let me say something about that $144,000. Ain't no hate over here, y'all. I ain't no jealous of none of that. I'm just gonna speak what it is. Now, one thing I've noticed about white folks, as long as your ass is black and foreign, they seem to have no problem with extending themselves to you. But boy, don't let your ass be black American. Huh? You black American, they ain't got shit for it. It's kind of like when you see them people who were going over all these other countries when they go and adopt a black kid, but they never adopt a black kid right here in America. Why is that? Why they don't adopt the kid right here in black America? But you'll go to some other country because why? Because your crime of humanity has not been plagued on them. So you know when he look you in your damn eye, he don't got that as when a black American look you in your eye and you know deep down in yourself what he thinking or how he really looking at you and how guilty you feel. So it seems to me that white people will go in their pocket, oh, and people, they just help them. You got plenty of niggas in this country you could help. Plenty of black people here who you can go right down to California, down Skid Row. Plenty of black people down there to help. There's plenty of people in Las Vegas. I mean, there's plenty of people around this country. You could be, if you want to really do that, but you pick and choose. And I think we don't see that shit, right? All right. But there's no slant on this family here. I'm just saying. It's funny how people can go all out their way. People homeless in shelters and you got to tell them that maybe better help. Okay, whatever. So, moving on the theme. Because again, I'm not blaming Shorty and the family, but there's a theme here. Now here it is again. They got the new movie coming out from 2000 called Us, right? And some people said this Us is really about black people in this country with black immigrants. And how black people are looking at the people who are coming here as if they coming here with some way to try to replace you. Replace us. They ain't gonna say no you, us. Replace us. Right? It's kind of like you say a horror story. It's something that's building up because let's just say those who been understanding about DOS, ADOS, and BADOS, how the minute when we start talking about reparations and when we're talking about those who are descended in bloodline of the United States, I see every kind of person, a black immigrant, got so much coming out their damn mouth about stuff that they shouldn't even have nothing. Don't even perk your mouth. It ain't none of your business. So it kind of is like this Us video or this movie coming out is somewhere of Jordan Peele, who is a white mama, black son. I'm not sure what that black part of that father is, right? It's kind of like when he made the movie Get Out. Right? So this Us is kind of maybe symbolically or metaphysically this, dichotomy said these ones look like us, but they ain't us. And they got evil intentions for you because reparations in the sense of this, let's just say, if reparations is to manifest in fruition, and that means that you won't have no extras to give. You understand? And so that means other people, matter of fact, how about this? Well, I'll do it on the next part. So you ain't got extras. So that means that some people, again, as if like, let's say that this family here, the little boy family running from, religious persecution, if you had to be forced to go back, they already know what that's going to happen to them, right? Matter of fact, when you understand what immigration and what it talks about in immigration, which we're going to get into, you'll see that dynamic is sitting up in there. And so Us seems to be some kind of representation of this kind of a, people, again, I'm going to say this. Everybody of black migration to the United States come here already having a country name when they get here. And what I mean, like this. They're from Nigeria. They Nigerians. Be Haitians from Haiti, right? And so forth and so on. But why is it the biggest crime in this country when the black American wants to be black American? Why everybody say, no, you got to be damn African? And I'll say damn, I don't mean it in a derogatory way. I'm just saying, you got to be a damn African like we African, but you got a country and a place of origin. Don't tell me about what resides in my genes, because that once upon a time, right? I can't tell you specifically what that is, but I can tell you directly what I am and what I am tied to today, to this blood, sweat, and soil of this land right here. So I don't understand how somebody somewhere is going to come in here and try to pull rank. Not happening. We're not going to sit here and let that happen. And yet people are parading this in our face as if we're not peeping it. You got, LUPITA, Chungo, whatever her name is, from Kenya, right? So everybody you keep putting in our face, when we really look at it, family, they don't be B-A-D-O-S, D-O-S, A-D-O-S. They be some slant. Then you kind of find out some other slant. It be half and half, right? But it never be representative too much of ourselves. And they think we not seeing this, right? So they pulling this right in front of our eyes, which is just really undermining you the whole time, and again acting as like we ain't supposed to say nothing. So let me move on to the next. Again, there ain't no shot at them. They do what they doing because, again, that's because the people who supposed to have afforded us the protection of since 1866 of the protected citizen right and all the stuff they talk about, civil rights and all that, should have been afforded to the descendants of ADOS, BADOS, and so forth. But everybody else seemed to have been undermined and getting it, and they're doing it blatantly. Blatantly. Right? So here, let me show you this. So there was this happening, right? So let me show you this. Let me show you this. And let's see. Let's say this and this. Gotta give you that too, right? So check this out. I'll be right back after this. Hold on.
Let's take you now to Dallas, where former President George W. Bush is speaking at a naturalization ceremony.
And it's going to be a privilege for me just in a few minutes to call you a fellow American. By custom, most Americans don't realize this, but citizens-to-be are known as candidates. Although for this kind of candidate, there are no debates, fundraisers, recounts, or opponents. Just a room full of friends to say, congratulations, we are glad you're here. I'd like to point out that not only are you becoming an American, but as Laura mentioned, you're a Texan. And if you walk out of here with a little extra attitude in your step, it shows the culture is taking hold. We have individuals and families from many backgrounds and cultures. As candidates for naturalization, you represent more than 20 countries. That's what brings us all here. You know, the future we have in common and a ritual that represents something fundamental and noble about this country is about to take place. You paid America the high tribute of aspiring to live here, leaving behind familiar ways and places, and accepting a process that everyone knows is not easy. Our country, when you return, honored your efforts, and soon will be honored to call you citizen. The United States of America is in many ways the most successful of nations. Historically, where immigration is concerned, we're also the most welcoming of nations. And these two facts are related. So many of us can draw a line somewhere back to a man or woman who had the idea that life could be better. And that hope led them here. Generations of new arrivals left their mark on our national character in traits that friends abroad still recognize as distinctly American. our optimism, our independence and openness to the new, our willingness to strive and to risk, our sense of life as an adventure dignified by personal freedom and personal responsibility. Such qualities don't come out of nowhere. A spirit of self-reliance runs deep in our immigrant heritage, along with the humility and kindness to look at someone less fortunate and see yourself. Across the world, good men and women still dream of starting life anew in America. People who bring energy and talent and faith in the future. Often they bring a special love of freedom because they have seen how life works without it. The great yearning of so many to live in our country presents a significant challenge. America's elected representatives have a duty to regulate who comes in and when. In meeting this responsibility, it helps to remember that America's immigrant history made us who we are. Amid all the complications of policy, may we never forget that immigration is a blessing and a strength. Public debate on the matter can get pretty sharp. That's not exclusive to this issue or these times. I guess you've noticed by now Americans like to speak their minds. You've just signed up with a boisterous democracy. And my hope is that you take the duties of citizenship seriously, participate, and vote. And for whatever the opinion of one retired politician might be, I believe we will see our way clear to immigration policies that are just, fair, and in the interest of the whole nation. That starts with recognizing a plain responsibility at the border. And in an often chaotic situation, being willing to state the obvious. Borders are not arbitrary, and they need to be respected along with the fine men and women of the immigration services and the Border Patrol. Immigration statutes likewise reflect the will of the people in the Congress and must be enforced. And when the laws are outdated and ineffective, they must be rewritten. I hope those responsible in Washington can dial down the rhetoric, put politics aside, and modernize our immigration laws soon. As president, I worked hard on comprehensive immigration reform, and I regret that our efforts came up short. Today, emotions can cloud the issue, but here at the Bush Center, we're clear-eyed about the need to enforce our borders and protect our homeland, and about the critical contributions immigrants make to our prosperity and to our way of life. To that end, we've published America's Advantage, a 3-edition handbook of research on immigration's positive effects on our economy. Our Central American Prosperity Project brings together leaders to strengthen economies, expand markets, and to reduce pressure on our southern border. And we've convened a bipartisan immigration policy working group to develop a blueprint for comprehensive immigration reform. For the ideal outcome, we need to look no farther than this very room and to a joyful moment you've waited for a long time. The path from application to oath ends on a beautiful morning in the great state of Texas. And I'm not going to put it off any longer except to say that Laura and I are proud to share the day, to look you in the eyes and call you a fellow citizen. Congratulations, and may God bless you.
All right, George W. Bush at an immigration ceremony there. And how cool is that, that you become an American citizen and you've got a former president of the United States there to help swear you in. What a wonderful moment. We'll keep an eye on this naturalization ceremony, bringing more news as warrants. For now, though, quick break. We'll be right back. You're streaming CBSN, CBS News, always on.
Immigration by Wikipedia, right? Immigration is the international movement of people into a destination country of which they are not natives or where they do not possess citizenship in order to settle or reside there, especially as permanent residents or naturalized citizens, or to take up employment as a migrant worker or temporary as a foreign worker. As for economic effects, research suggests that migration is beneficial both to the receiving and sending countries. Research, with few exceptions, finds that immigration on average has positive economic effects on the native population, but is mixed as to whether low-skilled immigration adversely affects low-skilled natives. Study shows that the elimination of barriers to migration would have profound effects on world GDP, with estimates of gain ranging between 67 and 147%. Developed economists argue that reducing barriers to labor mobility between developing countries and developed countries would be one of the most efficient tools of poverty reduction. The academic literature provides mixed findings for the relationship between immigration and crime worldwide, but finds for the United States that immigration either has no impact on the crime rate or that it reduced the crime rate. Research shows that country of origin matters for speed and of depth of immigration assimilation, but there is considerable assimilation overall for both first and second generation immigrants. Research has found extensive evidence of discrimination against foreign-born and minority populations in criminal justice, business, their economy, housing, healthcare, media, and politics in the United States and Europe. All right, so we back. So you've seen that there was the naturalization ceremony. The old speaker was there, was George Bush Light, right? And you see he gave a, ceremonial speech to those that they were about to get their citizenship, right? And he says that, they're kind of like candidates, right? Making the analogy as to like a person who running for position, right? But you don't have to go through the same process, right? And he says that he says, well, it's kind of like it's like being in a room of friends, right? And that it was the quote from or saying from one particular man that, again, life could be better. Life could be better coming to the United States. And that, again, the United States is a country of immigrants, right? It has a national character, and that they consider this country as a self-reliance, and that the people can see themselves when they see somebody in that position as oneself. It says when it comes down, right, that it is immigrants who has made this country what it is. And that the things that have been afforded to allow this country to be a country that is a boisterous democracy. Right? And there's the need for modernizing the immigration laws. Now, again, black folks have always been BADOS and ADOS and DOS. We have always shared. We have always given more than others give us, right? And it comes to a point when somebody is take in a relationship and not giving. What normally happens, people, right? There gets a line of dissension. It becomes a line which we will not cross, or we will not bear no more. And it seems that, again, as I said earlier about taking the thorn and thistle, right? Don't talk about the thorn in my eye without taking the thistle in your own eye. Meaning, how can someone whose own the thistle would be in your eye, meaning your house ain't right. Your house needs some fixing, major fixing. How is it that you can take somebody else's situation and try to make their self situation better when you can't even take care of the situation in your own house? So you parade yourself as some moral or righteous beacon when those who, again, that gives that afforded life and a place of refuge for other people to come, but the ones who built it and the descendants of it, you act as if like they don't even exist. And you give so much, and again, we understand why you do what you do, because again, it says about immigration. When you talk about immigration, right? When it said immigration, when you go to Wikipedia, it talks about, right, that which they are not natives or where they do not possess citizenship in order to settle or reside there, especially as permanent residents or naturalized citizens, or to take up unemployment as migrant workers or temporary as foreign workers. But somebody has blurred the lines. Somebody has decided that it's more economical feasible in the, the opulous life we live. Because if we had to deal with those who understand and been in the game, your profits wouldn't be as big. Somebody said the profits, I think earlier in the show, that the profits of the country is, it's just the jobs, right? Because they can build something because of the they're making so much money, but there has no trickle down effect. Because everybody else can get some, but that which you gave the most, that it gives everybody, affords everybody refuge, comfort, opulence. We just gonna wait till again, like that one when I did the show. Remember the little white kids in high school? We just wait till they die off. See? But yet you'll look at yourself and say that you're righteous and kind and you're good, and in the eyes of the God that you believe that everything gonna be all right. Well, we laying it on the table. You remember that? Then remember that scene in Color Purple when Whoopi and I think it was, what's his name? What's his name? He played in with Mel Gibson, right? I'm gonna say his name, but the brother that played in it, right? And remember when Whoopi came to the table, had the knife, and was gonna cut him? He said, "Look at you, you're black, you're ugly," right? And that's them, right? That's what they saying. Look at you, you're black, you're ugly. But we slapped that knife at the table. Whack. Everything you do, until you do right by me, everything you do won't prosper. Everything you do from this point forward will not prosper until you do right by me. See, you giving and making, and that's why people running here. And we don't primarily blame the people coming, because as you heard George Bush Light say, that it is the administration that allows who come and who don't. Right? So there's a vetting process that happens. And it's all about economics. It's all about profits. It's all about undermining, so now I have to deal with the bill in due that's red. So what you do, you just keep filling the house up with more and more and more. So that way, those people, again, because part of being, again, as you heard him do the commemoration for naturalization, there's an allegiance being made here. And you are to renounce your old and take the new. So that means you have created this us, as that movie was talking about. Because you say a lot of them that play the game of genealogy and talking about DNA and ancestry and about we all one and come from Africa, but when they may be us, but they ain't us no more. They done made a distinction in themselves. And because, again, as I said earlier, where people will say they can come from other places and have the title of the land that they come from, but when they come here and when we want to claim here, we can't be here. We have to be everybody. The selfishness everybody has taken on. Right? So, you know what happens when you do this? And those people who have long lineage in this country, you know what ends up happening? You bring a certain kind of animosity on people that may not rightly be it's for. Now, I don't condone violence, but I'm just going to say on this next clip, this is why some of this is happening. This is it. This is the real reason why you're seeing this. That does not condone what took place. It's tragic what took place. But see, they got used too. And see, you know what happens is somebody who using is kind of like having a brand new stick of gum. Oh, it's fresh. Sugar taste popping, all good. Smelling dentine fresh. But after you done chewed it out the while and then lost its taste, and then lost its sugar, and then lost its pop, you ready to discard it. Putting it under the table, wrap it up in a piece of paper, put it somewhere. But you've been doing that. Everything you chew, now they just piling up. It's got to the place ain't nowhere else to go. And so what end up happening? Those people are, as Robin Harris once said, festivity. They getting fed up and they lashing out. So this is what you breed when you bring this dichotomy amongst those who would be considered at one time. It was this was small. It was a black, poor, white, black people situation. Now that this has fruition, that it's got so much in it now, they're going to lash out. They're going to lash out. So let me show you. And again, I don't condone. I'm not saying this is good. But you seeing how they doing what they doing there? Okay. Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me set this up here and here. So I can get up out here because I'm at the 2-hour mark. I don't want to go too long, right? I'll do it too long. So let me go ahead and play this and be right back.
The first of those two mosques that were attacked is behind me. Crime scene investigators are still here looking for more evidence, piecing together what happened. This as there are many memorials popping up all across this nation. There are more tears here than bloodshed. We're also learning more about the suspect.
An alleged killer in court, charged with murder in the deadliest mass shooting in New Zealand history. The main suspect blurred here under New Zealand law, but identified by U.S. and Australian sources as 28-year-old Brenton Tarrant, appearing defiant, making a hand signal associated with white nationalism. Authorities believe he stormed two mosques in the southern city of Christchurch Friday, live streaming the rampage. This image taken from inside the attacker's car, moments before gunning down men, women, and children, killing at least 49 people.
I saw my son in the mid of the hall and my wife back and crying and shouting and bleeding, and I can't do anything for everyone.
Relatives still waiting for news of loved ones as bodies are recovered.
People don't know if their family members are alive or dead, and if they're alive, they don't know where they're based.
An apparent anti-immigration, anti-Muslim manifesto was posted online ahead of the attack, as well as images of weapons and ammunition covered in anti-immigration messages on a Twitter account linked to Tarrant. The Prime Minister saying the weapons used in the attack were acquired legally and vowing to tighten gun laws.
I can tell you one thing right now. Our gun laws will change.
Australian media say Tarrant grew up in Australia, had worked as a personal trainer, and had traveled in Europe and Asia. Two other suspects are in custody, their role unclear, as police search a residence using a bomb disposal robot. Meanwhile, tributes pour in from around the world.
Our hearts go out to our brothers and sisters, as well as our prayers,
as New Zealanders unite in the face of extreme hate.
With the death toll at 49, we also know more than 40 people were hospitalized. Many were injured with gunshot wounds. At least 2 remain in critical condition. Hundreds of family members are still waiting word of their loved ones. We expect the full list of the dead to be released later today.
Muslim terror attack in New Zealand. The Prime Minister there is calling it one of the nation's darkest days. A gunman attacked 2 mosques while hundreds of Muslims were praying.
The man who is claiming responsibility and charged with murder is an extreme right-wing white supremacist who live-streamed the attack, saying it was aimed at immigrants. Security stepping up here in the U.S. That's a live look at the Islamic Cultural Center right here in New York City.
So here's what we know right now. At least 49 people were killed, 48 more wounded, multiple IEDs discovered attached to vehicles, and 3 people are now in custody. Our senior foreign correspondent Ian Pannell starts us off with the very latest.
Horrific scenes in a normally peaceful country playing out at 2 mosques in Christchurch. As worshippers were at midday prayers, the holiest of the week, multiple people ruthlessly gunned down. At 1:42 p.m. local time, witnesses say a man dressed all in black entered the Masjid al-Nur mosque, shooting an automatic weapon.
People were running out. I saw some people had blood on their body and some people were limping.
This man seen with blood on his shirt was the last to escape, hiding under a bench.
He just came in, he was shooting, and I'm thinking that, if I get out, I'll get shot, so I'm just keeping my fingers crossed so I could be alive. But yeah, I was the last guy to come out of the mosque after the shooting stopped. And on the doors, there were a lot of bodies.
The killer then drove 3 miles across town to the Linwood Mosque, where he opened fire again. Armed police closed in on the scene, searching cars for suspects, guns drawn. Police ramming a suspect's car, and then you can see him being taken into custody beside the vehicle. 2 men and a woman now in custody in connection to the attacks. The shooter, who appears to have been from Australia, is linked to a 74-page manifesto filled with white supremacist rhetoric. He's charged with murder. Police also saying they defused 2 improvised explosive devices that were found on a vehicle after the shootings. Amidst the chaos, police officials now warning people to stay away from any mosque in New Zealand for now, in case of further violence.
I want to ask anyone that was thinking of going to a mosque anywhere in New Zealand today not to go, to close your doors until you hear from us again.
Ambulances rushing victim after victim to hospitals as bystanders help the wounded.
We pulled up and I opened up my driver's door and got out, and we pulled him round behind and then opened up the back as well, give us some protection. I'm 66 and never thought in my life I'd live to see something like this.
Overnight, New Zealand's Prime Minister condemning this terrorist attack.
This is one of New Zealand's darkest days. Clearly, what has happened here is an extraordinary and unprecedented act of violence.
So, details still coming in about the attacker, his alleged accomplices, but most importantly, the victims. 2 reasons why this was so shocking. 1, it was broadcast live by the attacker himself, but most importantly, this is a country that has never seen a terrorist attack ever before. But nor should it be seen in isolation. There's been a noticeable increase in extreme right-wing terrorist attacks from America to Europe and elsewhere. And whether you're going to a mosque, to a church or to a temple today, the chances are you're going to be on high alert as you do the most peaceful possible thing: pray.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos.
It says mega hat causes disruption at vigil for massacre. You know I'm going to say that again. Mega hat causes disruption at vigil for massacre. This story was done in Newsweek. Like this story was done today, March the 21st, 2019. And this is how it reads. It says a young man apparently caused a stir when he wore a Make America Great Again cap at a Canadian university during a vigil for victims of last week's New Zealand mosque massacre. The unidentified man showed up to Tuesday vigil at York University in Toronto, Ontario, as reported by The Independent. The man was captured on video, which was then posted to Twitter. The short clip shows what looks to be a white male standing where someone confronts him and yells, "These people don't owe you an explanation. There was a fucking massacre and you're wearing the symbol of racism. Get the fuck out." Twitter user Raneem Ayub posted a video and claimed that the mega cap wearing man said the vigil was meaningless, which prompted her to state, "My school held a vigil to honor the lost lives caused by the attack in New Zealand. This man showed up with a mega hat on purpose. This was taking place in Toronto." The Twitter poster also said the man in the red cap knew he caused a scene by showing up in the cap, and that her school is very diverse and it is for the most part supportive of all individuals regardless of their race, belief, sexuality, etc. "My school is very diverse and it is for most part," okay, they just reiterating what had just been said, right? She added that wearing the hat is only asking for trouble and that it was very disrespectful. Regardless of what this hat means to everyone who was there, the vigil was being held for one reason, and it was to celebrate the lives of the victims. Showing up with a mega hat is only asking for trouble, taking away the meaning of the vigil and disrespecting the victims, she added in another tweet. The killing of 50 people at the New Zealand mosque last Friday grabbed worldwide attention, and there has been vigils all over the globe to mourn the victims. Another 50 people were injured in the shooting that was broadcast live through social media. Trump began wearing the red Make America Great Again cap during the 2016 presidential campaign and has become a symbol to represent both the president and his supporters. All right, so that's the tragedy that's happened in New Zealand, and they attribute it to a white nationalist that seems to be seeking out, looks like those who would be of the religious belief of Muslims, saying they can hit the mosque. And again, we don't condone violence. I mean, we protect ourselves when the time comes when you have to do it, but you don't seek out. But in the case here, it seems that, as I was saying before, the last scene or clip is about immigration. And, you know, in the case of them, of the white nationalists and those who are of the poor, you know, levels of it, they believe, again, as you know, as we as ADOS, BADOS, and ADOS say that we built this country. Now they know they didn't build the country, but they've been the beneficiaries of the built of what we build, right? And slowly, those who had positions that they thought because of their whiteness, right, seem to lost a lot of their privilege due to, they believe, of immigration by being undermined. Well, a lot of them worked in places that a lot of those companies end up outsourcing, going to other countries, getting the lower wage laborers, which put those out of, you know, commission to either find or seek other employment or become, you know, again, poor white man. And so, as I was saying about how, as an ADOS, BADOS, a DOS, and how we look at immigration, again, we're not against those if you are, you know, in need and need a place in the shelter in the cold. We're not against that. But what happens when the place you live in is overcrowded and you don't have any more room? Yes, you still want to help, but I got no more room. So it's kind of like a hotel on New Year's night or New Year's that you done went partying and you didn't go get that hotel, hoping, you thinking that you're going to go and just walk up and pay to get you a room that night. You only by the luck of grace do you get one that night, right? So that's already reserved, right? Most people who do, they don't have that reserved, or they got it before or later than that night. But once in a while, most try to think they can sneak and get it, but it don't happen. So you end up being SOL. So that's what then happened. You know, the grandiose ideal of using other people to make your coffers bigger and then just keep replenishing it with new people is good for you. But those people who are, you know, the ones, let's say at the beginning of the game, and then as you keep bringing more people, they get pushed down further and further and further and further down. And as BADOS, ADOS, and DOS, we don't have the militia to, you know, do that kind of, you know, that's not even part of our MO. Our modus operandi ain't even that. But those on the other side who are kin and family is, that's what they will do. That's how they're lashing out. They're seeing things too. And they coming maybe to the realization that maybe the black man, especially the black American man, ain't your problem. Never was your problem. Right? And so, I don't know about what's going on in New Zealand, but you did see in the story where it says that they had the high alert here in the United States, right? They said, again, they put high alert. So I'm just saying there has been a nice quietness going on, so there must be some preparation somewhere going on unbeknownst to everybody else. And again, I'm just saying, you know, this could be the mellow cocktail. I mean, if I, as a black person, am seeing as a black person other people who are my skin who ain't particularly my direct kin, and I can't see self in the own land that I know that my ancestors built, that'd be one thing if the other side, if I'm dealing with them, but I have to deal with, again, that's why the movie said us. It look like me, talk like, look like me, skin like me, but may not be me. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's another side. And it seems to have some other intent for my own demise, for its own self-preservation. So what happens when you're on the other side as the white man and you seeing it and you get X'd out? I guess the rat in the corner gonna come out fighting. Now, am I condoning it? Hell no. But I'm just saying, did they ever think about that shit? Because it seemed like nobody ain't thinking about that shit, but that shit happening. And so I'm saying, you know, we coming at some crossroads all over this place. And so I'm saying, you know what's on the table. HR 40 bill is just what it is. You won't do any remedy on this side of the game. That's where it's at. I think some expediting needs. I don't think we're not in the position to be sitting talking no more. We need things to be done. This game that y'all been playing, the immigration game, it done got to a level where it's kind of like, man, it's too obvious. And you got these people lashing out. And black people sitting here almost drowning. You understand? So between the two peoples, there is a commonality there. So it's like, you know, I remember sometimes they say, what we're going to do about it? Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Man, I'm still looking at you. You had problems with me all this time, and I don't know why you had problems with me. So I don't know what to say other than the fact that they know. I think they want to now try to make laws and come at them and try to, you know what I'm saying? Because again, it hurts. It's not good for business. So maybe they're going to try to come at laws and find ways to use the laws to finally round them up. And I think if you do that, well, this is Mr. Blows Your Mind coming with another thought-provoking show. I want to say we ain't got no friends, as John Henry Clark has always said. Love your brother, treat him like an equal, because one day we won't be on our knees praying. Because here's the situation. So, to the next show, I want to thank everybody who came and listened to the show tonight. I'm prepared to get another better show next one. Wanted to make sure, because I missed out the other day, so I wanted to make sure I get something out. And so, you know, stay black, love, and all that good stuff, y'all, to the next show. You know how I got to get it out? You know how we got to end it, right? Just got to end it the way I got to always end it. Let's see if I can find it, right? Let's hit it and get it up out of here and call it a night. Get it.
Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, And everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Luther and I, and everyone in this arena tonight, are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first of all remember that this system was not originally designed with black people in mind. Right on, And it definitely was not prepared for black people to, in the end, begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they died for. Right on. Hey, and we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we used to sing the song, "Good news, the chariot is coming." While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What good news for the sheep might be bad news to the wolf.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, it was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saved 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians. When Irish love Irish. But when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin.
They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed. But white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu. All white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
Why am I here?
Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You got to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control, which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the 6th version.
5 1 2 3. There are only 2 possible explanations. There were 5 ones before me. Whether no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to You can't make me do anything like trick!
Choice. The problem is choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptist. We're not brutalized because we're Methodist. We're not brutalized because we're Muslim. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil, because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga, and if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man separate from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true. I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world. He calls it the ugly American, or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you, and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Now, check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? Knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, Brother Greg, you coming by today? And I said, Malcolm, I love you. And I said, I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there. He said, what do you mean, Brother Greg? I said, well, I close tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East. And I said, but I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning. And I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary, booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not going to let this government get two of us for the price of one. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you.